I was very, very happy to see we're almost to 444. Good morning, I'm Tom Vassell.
That's my favorite number. I'm Wendy Yee.
I am ambivalent. I'm Chris. Yee.
I think we've talked about 444 being your favorite number before.
We have.
But why?
We have. Just it's been in my life a lot. That's
okay.
all. Lots of reasons.
I don't really have a
Peers,
favorite number.
places.
And people ask me, I'll be like, 9. I don't know. Or I'm a mathematician, so 36 or 120
You're a
make me really help.
mathematician.
No, but I like.
Ooh.
E to the I pie. Go for a classic like that.
Yes. Welcome to Board Game Breakfast. Hey, look, Mosaic's here. 2 things about Mosaic. We're reviewing it this week. But also, Forbidden Games is sponsoring this episode, and you can win a copy of the standard edition of Mosaic. I'll be showing you this week the deluxe king-size one, but the standard one is the same thing, just with lesser components, but fantastic gameplay. I'm sorry. Gameplay.
Spoilers.
I'm not spoiling the review. The review. Anyhow, you can win a copy of this by emailing us at contest@dicetower.com. In the subject line, put the word story, and in the body, tell us your favorite civilization.
Not game? Not game? Just
civilization.
specifically?
Like Sumerians.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Someone just responds 6.
6?
Yeah. Civilization 6.
That would be a good answer. I would accept that.
It won't improve your chances of winning, but
It will
you'll get a
not.
nod.
Welcome to another somewhat normal week of the Dice Tower. I don't think we're doing anything particularly different this week, although we're going to continue our reviews with multiple reviewers is happening. But other than that, we got all our normal shows. We have, we got At the Table today with Dan Hughes. That'll be later on today. Well, I don't know why I'm saying all this. I'm supposed to say that later.
Yeah.
But welcome back. But you can sign up to come to Dice Tower West and Dice Tower Cruise. Both of those tickets, well, Dice Tower Cruise tickets are on sale right now, but Dice Tower West tickets are going on sale soon. So to tell you a little bit more about that, we have a message here from the head of Dice Tower West, Tim Metvier. So here he is.
Tim?
Hey everybody, Tim here from Dice Tower West. First of all, I wanted to say a happy good morning to you on Board Game Breakfast, and I know they're having a wonderful show, but today is a very, very important day. Why? Because badges for Dice Tower West go on sale today, Monday, August 22nd at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Not only are badges available, but our room block opens as well. So you can go to www.dicetowerwest.com and you can get your badge and you can get your hotel room for Dice Tower West 2023. When are the dates, you're probably asking? The dates for Dice Tower West 2023 are March 8th through 12th, and we are going again to be at the Rio Hotel in Las Vegas. Now, there are 3 big reasons you definitely want to come to a Dice Tower event. Number 1, well, especially Dice Tower West in Las Vegas. Number 1, it's in Las Vegas. So you have the opportunity to have some great meals at great restaurants, see some fantastic shows, and just enjoy what Vegas is all about. Number 2, you get a chance to hang out and play games with all of the Dice Tower crew. That's right. The people you see on the videos doing the reviews and the shows all the time, they'll be there hanging out, playing games. And number 3, and most important, if you've ever been to a Dice Tower event, then you know that Dice Tower events are warm, welcoming, friendly, and they really are some of the friendliest events on the planet. You will be around a bunch of great people, happy people playing games, and you will have a fantastic time. It's going to be bigger and better than ever. So please, go to www.dicetowerwest.com and get your badge, get your hotel room, and get excited for Dice Tower West 2023. Thanks for watching. I'm Tim. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.
All right, so we continue looking at games that came out 20 years ago. Today's game is Trias. Trias is ranked 2,668 at Board Game Geek, which is not particularly low. It's about dinosaurs. And back then, and I'm showing you the picture of Trias. Ooh, well, you can see it up there too. Ooh. Back then, there were not many games about dinosaurs. That was not a theme that was used very often. Today, there are a few more.
This looks like Cascadia, the dinosaur mini version.
It is a little like that when you look at the pictures. Oh, wow, Mike,
Mike is so on top of
Mike is so on top of showing a picture of the game. So one of the things that astounded me when I first played this was that there was not cubes. They're little dinosaurs. And I was like, what? That's awesome. Instead of cubes, there's little dinosaurs.
Oh.
So
Take that, dominant species, right?
yeah. Well, Dominant Species is like one of those games stuck in the past. So anyhow,
So what you're saying is Trias is leagues better than dominant species.
Era is better.
no, I did not say that.
You said it's a better game.
I've given it a 7 here, and I wonder if I played it. It's been a long time I played it. I wonder if I'd give it a 6 now, because basically you're putting herds on these continents, and then you drift tiles, and you're breaking things up and trying to control areas. And it was really fun 20 years ago, giving it a 7. I bet if I played it now, I'd probably knock it down a little bit. It had 4 action points. Back then, that was the rage. Give you a bunch of action points to use on your turn. And had little dinosaur cube things. We didn't call everything meeples back then because we were more mature. We didn't call them dinosaur eeples. Dineeples.
Deeples? Dinoples?
I hate everything about it.
Dinoples?
Duplos, like
The-
those little
the word-
kid toys.
Meeples comes from miniature people. So if you're going to follow the nomenclature, it should be like minos. No, I'm serious. If you're going to do this stupidity, if you have little cats, they're mats. Okay? If they're little dogs, mogs. I should probably stop. I'm going to get in trouble at some point.
Mogs, I could actually get behind. I would be
That's
down
because
for
you're not a
that.
huge dog fan.
Oh, I hate
Muppies.
dogs. Yeah, muppies.
You hate dogs? Oh, well, you're okay,
I'm
fine.
very allergic to dogs. Let me get the record
That shouldn't
straight.
make you hate them.
Yes, it should.
Just because they're trying to kill you.
Right. I do have a tendency to dislike things that are actively trying to poison my body.
I don't hate gluten. I just don't eat it.
Well, that's because
I avoid it at all
I'm gonna avoid any eating.
No, you hate
jokes.
dogs. It's
yeah,
on,
I
it's
hate
on
dogs.
record. We cannot change this.
Let's go back to
Trias.
Fast and Furious
Mogs.
Triassic Drift here.
This was designed by Ralph Lamical, and this is the only game he's ever done. So go figure. It was Rio Grande Games and Gecko Games. The art from Doris Mathau, who did a lot of art back in these days. You can see her similar artwork she did on Bonanza and other games like that.
Carcassonne, I think, is probably her most famous.
That's probably,
the first edition.
even though they've kind of wiped that off the map. They're like, new Carcassonne!
Yeah.
With a new artist. That must feel like, oh, when you're the original artist, you're like, oh, I'm glad there's a new edition.
I honestly don't feel like Carcassonne was improved by the new art. So
I don't know. I'd have to compare them
it's
side by side. It's been a while
it's very
since I've seen it.
plain. I don't know. I was hoping new art meant like new art, not like here's what a field looks like. It still looks like a field.
I do like Doris Mathau's art, but it is very much like as soon as I see it, I know when, like, what era that game was printed in.
That is true. I don't know, like, if I looked her up, like, has she done anything recent? Well, she's listed on Nightmare Productions.
Really?
Oh, really?
But there's 8 artists listed on Nightmare Productions.
I'm gonna go look again now for any
I'm curious
Yeah,
now,
Any
right?
old-looking monsters?
anything that looks like Schweinebande, you know.
Well, that's fascinating. Unless, oh, wait a minute. She might not be on Nightmare Productions.
Oh, she might have been on like
She might
Hollywood
be on one of the
Golden Age.
original
Oh,
ones.
I see.
Because I'm scanning through all the games that she's done. She did the Brett Spiel Advent Calendar in 2018
Yeah, that would make sense.
because there was probably a promo in there
Yeah.
for one of the games. And she did one of the cards for Dominion Guilds and Cornucopia in 2015. All right, we're way off topic here. Try
A lot of people
Trias.
did
It's
art
not
for
worth your time
Dominion.
hunting this down, folks, probably, but it was a good game back in its day. Let's keep moving.
Hi everyone, it's Stella from Maple University. I'm actually just got back from Gen Con 2022. It's glad to be back, great experience, and I'm gonna quickly talk about one of the games that I think is a hot one and people trying to get this game. Well, there are a few of them, but this is one of them, I think. And this is Turing Machine from Scorpion Mask. So this is actually a puzzle deduction game. It's quite a light game, a family game. It's a competitive puzzle deduction game using computer punch cards, and you're trying to deduce what are the 3 numbers that's the correct one. So you go through scenarios and then asking several questions and then deduce which one's the right one. And I think this is a very fun game. I love puzzle deduction game, and I do love the cuteness of these punch cards, and I think it's gonna make a great family game. And I think this game has a lot of replayabilities because there are missions on the rulebook and missions online. At the time when I check, I don't think it's available yet online, but it will be there according to the rulebook. So. And that's it. Did you go to Gen Con? Did you pick this up? What's your hot game that you got from Gen Con? Let us know. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, it's Oliver. And as a 13-year-old, I don't make as much money as an adult would. Except for the allowance for the month for doing things like mowing the lawn and taking out the trash, but that's it. But in the game I'm going to be talking about today, QE, it's unlimited. QE is a game where you are bidding on a certain industry in a certain country to score points to win the game. But the catch is that you can bid any amount of money you want. 1,000, 10,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000,000. It's unlimited, as I said before. One thing I like about QE is that it's a perfect timed game. 40 minutes is perfect for me. Any shorter, any longer, it would be too short or too long, so it's perfect. Another thing I like is that it's reusable. It doesn't have papers that you just throw away. All the pieces that you're going to be using are dry erase, so just write on it, erase it. It's reusable. So I like that, but yeah. Another thing I like is that the bids can get a bit silly. Like once I had an instance where someone bid literally $1 more. It was literally like 1,000,000,000 and then 1,000,000,001. I belly laugh at these funny bids. They're hilarious. This game gets me laughing. And another thing is that just bidding for 0, why not spice it up a bit? Make it a bag of peanuts, as my dad did. So it can get kind of silly. So if you have this game, do that, because it makes the night a lot more spicy. And guys, that's QE. Have a great breakfast. Bye.
All right, well, here's what's coming. First of all, later today, in 47 minutes, Z's going to be doing What's Happening. I don't know what it is, but it's happening.
Oh, it was.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Sentinels in the Multiverse?
I'm not sure.
I shall look it up while you continue.
All right,
Smash
also,
up.
Oh, smash it.
Smash Up.
Smash up.
Today at noon, Camille will be doing a live Q&A. I normally do those, but that's because later on at 3, I'll be doing At the Table with Eric Summer and Dan Hughes. All of this stuff, by the way, if you miss it, you can... sorry.
You can restream
Mike's throwing
it.
me off. You can listen to the audio versions of it. Where?
Oh, DTV Audio.
All right. Let's see what else was happening this week. Hand-to-Hand Wombat, the USPS, the Great American Mail Race, Mythic Mischief, Evergreen, The Spill, I already mentioned Mosaic, Ticket to Ride San Francisco, Thunder Rolls, which I still think is like the name of a diet plan or something, or for someone before they go on diet plans.
Not my favorite name, no.
The top 10 games that should be in the BGG top 10, which I've done that list. Have you? Have you looked at it yet?
Oh, I've put a lot of thought into this, Tom. You were setting me up to get yelled at from the internet in all different degrees.
I am indeed. Monuments, Founders of Teotihuacan, Marvel Zombies.
The Heroes Resistance version, which is the Spin Master available one right now.
Well, yeah, it doesn't say that here.
Oh, well, I'm just clarifying, okay? Doing my job.
Boredom Medieval Detective. My top 10 repost games, Longboard, Quacks and Code, Goofy Movie the Card Game, Gutenberg, no, that's just a playthrough, Fairy Lights, Town 66, Turing Machine, Captain's War, and the last Foursquare, because this was recorded weeks and weeks ago, the last Foursquare going up ever. Well, not really, because we're still doing them, we're just not calling them Foursquares. But anyway, Jurassic World, The Legacy of Isla Nublar. And in fact, to that end, for Foursquares, we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other reviews this week, maybe 6, with 4 people, and then like 6 more with 3 people. So there you go. Anyway, that's what's coming from the Dice Tower this week.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, today we're talking about In the Palm of Your Hand. This is a dexterity-style kind of party game. What's going to happen is you have one person who is a grandfather. His eyes are going to be closed, and he's got his palm out here, and he is basically just going to feel stuff. Another player is going to play his grandchild, who is trying to act out using these different components, these different items, and all this different weird stuff, basically, in order to act out one of his memories from like his photo album, right? So he's got his eyes closed, and she's kind of putting stuff on his hand, moving things around, trying to act out a scene. More cards are going to be added into this pool of cards. He's going to open his eyes and try to figure out what the child was trying to convey to him.
Yeah.
This is an extremely unique game. The main thing that you're doing is you are feeling, right? What other game uses feeling as the main mechanisms? It's very peculiar.
This game is an experience. You will not have played anything like this, and it was just really fun for us to get to play this. One of the most challenging things about this game is the fact that you're playing two cards. So if you're the person who is the grandfather that round and you're the one that has your hand out, so you're trying to remember what happened on two different things. You're trying to remember a feel twice, two different feelings, and sometimes you get really focused on one and you're like, I think I can get that. And by the time the cards are revealed, you totally forgot what happened in the second one. It kind of makes you feel like you are this grandfather that can't really remember all of your memories. That is just so challenging. If you did one and you could really focus on that, it wouldn't be as hard, right? You could really hone in on that. But the fact that you have to remember two back to back, or when you're giving a clue, you have to give two different clues that are unique enough that they're separate and you can guess different cards, it is challenging.
Also, similar to party games, let's maybe say Dixit or Obscurio, something like that. Your opponents, as you're watching your scene take place, they get a chance to watch what you're doing and then add in cards into the pool of cards that you're guessing from that might have similar things going on, or maybe that might convey a similar message. And so you have to, once you're looking at your tableau of cards to choose from, you might have some ones that are very misleading, which can be a lot of fun. And also really frustrating. So this is, like I said, an experience of a game. This leaves an impression on you. This is very innovative, very unique.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching us. If you want to find out more of us, make sure to find us on YouTube. We are Ryan and Bethany at Board Game Reviews. Everybody, this is Ryan and Bethany. Hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye everybody.
Guys.
All right, well, I hesitate to talk sometimes in direct response to particular things that other people say are right. So this is that, but this is in the response of what several people have said post-Gen Con. Okay, so we all were at Gen Con. Gen Con was great, blah, blah, blah. But there was no one game of the show. There was no game that people were knocking the doors on. Many people have pointed this out. Stella has mentioned Turing Machine. That was very popular. Cat in a Box was very popular. There were games that were super popular but also sold out in 5 minutes, so...
Arc Nova maps were super popular.
Yeah.
That's like almost, in my opinion, the most popular thing that was there at Gen Con was that map pack for Arc Nova.
Right, but I wouldn't... So, way back in the late 90s, when Magic came out, everybody was playing Magic everywhere. When Dominion came out, everybody was talking about Dominion everywhere. This doesn't happen very often. Yes, there are hot games that come out, but they often don't dominate the industry. When they do, that's a big deal. When Codenames came out, it kind of dominated everything for a while. But I have been definitely guilty of talking about too many games are being published, and I think there's some truth to that. And the hobby currently is not able to sustain the vast number of games that are coming out. And we can see this because in the past year, several companies have gone under. Small companies are disappearing. Companies are slowing down production of games, but even with all that happening, there's thousands of games coming out every year. There's lots of games at Gen Con, and there was no big giant release, but I'll tell you what there was. Lots of really good releases. I think what people forget, because I am so anti the doom and gloom of the current hobby. There's things about the current hobby that I'm not a big fan of. I think these gigantic versions of games, we're getting a little overproduction on that end, and we sometimes will pick a trend and run it into the ground, see Roll and Write or whatever. Publishing games that aren't even that good, but just because, the nature themes are popular now, everyone do that. But that's every industry, ever.
Yeah, you see that in movies all the time.
Right, movies,
Yeah.
whatever, you know. Oh, it's
Fashion
popular.
and all of
Let's
yeah.
do more of it.
Right.
Marvel movies, 7 a year.
I'm okay with that, actually.
Those are good. Action movies.
But I would posit that people forget so many times that many games that have come out at Gen Con and other places, if they had come out 20 years ago, would have blown people's minds. They would have been the game of the show. But because there are like 10 of them, that adulation is spread out. And
Fair.
therefore, we're like, well, what's the big game? But there's a lot of great games. We have talked about really fantastic games over the past half year. Like, I can already make my top 10 for 2022. I'll probably switch it around and change it. There are more games, but there are amazing games that have come out this year. Games I think are fantastic and fun. And I feel like sometimes it's like we went to a really fancy buffet with all this terrific food and we're like, wow, that's not that good. But if we had had that on a worse buffet, it would have been the best thing there.
Right. No one goes to the buffet and complains. It's too much good food. You know, there's a lot of great games. I think of the reviews that we've done in the week and a half, 2 weeks that we've been back from Gen Con, and there's been a lot of great games. There's been a lot of excellent games that we might even say, and that's because I think that there were that many that kind of stood out above the rest. And then we'll get to a lot of the other ones. Hopefully, find some more hidden gems, but Gen Con was a buffet of great games.
It's interesting because this was my first Gen Con, and so in your experience, Tom, has there typically been a game that is the one and the shining
Not
that
particular.
everyone
I mean,
wants
there's
to
usually a
get?
game that people run for. And that happened here, but it was so spread out. 25th Century had people running for that Green Team Wins game, you know, and
Yeah.
people ran for the spinning Planet Unknown game. And people ran for these games, and then then they went to the next game. But in past years, there has been things like King of New York came out. Which, by the way, is still not a huge game today. It was really popular when Clank in Space came out. People went nuts over that. Now, sometimes a game comes out like Android Netrunner, and that was huge. And everyone was talking about that and playing that. But even that is kind of in the background today.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think that has anything to do, and I also don't, the only thing I can think of is this, is it makes content creators' jobs harder. And it might make it harder for viewers to sift through all the games. If no game is the game everyone must have, oh, now I got to watch more reviews, now I got to do more to figure out which game's the best.
But honestly, I don't always like the game that everybody must have. Like, it doesn't always fit my style.
True, but most people are drawn to
They're
that.
drawn to that,
That's
sure,
the
they
reason
don't
our
play
top
that.
10 lists are popular.
Yeah.
Because we say this is the best, and people are like, well, and even I mean, when I first got into gaming, I went to Board Game Geek, which had just come out and got the top 5 games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I figured
we do that.
they're the best,
Yeah.
and I play them. Man, I'm glad I'm not doing that today. That would really, I can't imagine as a new kid coming in and being like, Gloomhaven
And Jaws of the Lion, Brass
Brass.
Birmingham.
oh, you'd be like, these are the best.
This represents all
Come back and
modern
watch our
board
list on
gaming.
Thursday. Yeah, no, I just don't. Yes, I think there's a lot of publishers, a lot of games. I just don't see that as overall a bad thing.
I honestly think it would help with lines. Because if there's one game that everyone's clamoring for at Gen Con, not everyone's going to get that game. Because
Right.
the line's going to be super long. But if there's 5 games that everyone's clamoring for, that's 5 different lines. You pick one that you think you're like the best, stand in that line, you're more likely to get it.
I definitely felt bad for the booth that was next to Capstone that had the line just like running right by them. Hey guys, we're selling stuff too, you know.
Well, they were selling dice, so maybe people bought dice from
Oh,
them.
there you go, inline transactions.
Yeah, hopefully.
Diversification is also happening too. Everyone is playing different games. People are finding out exactly what they like about games. I like these kind of games, so I tend to go towards that. So, I don't know. I don't believe in a lot of doom and gloom in the hobby. And yes, there are things I don't like and things are going to change. But man, after going to Gen Con, I felt the hobby was very, very strong, especially the board gaming hobby. So, there you go. There's not too many games.
皆さん、おはようございます and welcome to the Board Game Dojo, where we use science and history to learn more about board games and the people who play them. Wait, is that our slogan? Yes, It is because we also have a podcast that is quite a bit different than our YouTube channel. We wanted to bring it up on Board Game Breakfast today because a recent episode's topic has caused quite a good conversation. In this episode, we talked about the psychology of why people collect things, how collecting board games are different than things like DVDs, and the difference between collecting and hoarding. Part of talking about why people collect is by separating the reasons that people collect. And I wanted to bring some board games that highlighted some of these categories for you, and to see which ones in your collection might be your representatives. The first one is my pick for sentimental, and that is Deception Murder in Hong Kong. It was one of my entries into board gaming, but not only that, it was one of the first games that allowed me to make friends when I moved to Japan. I played it at the first board game meetup I went to, and I still have some of those friends today. The next one is my pick for investment, Shadow Hunter. A lot of people enjoy flipping or trading their board games, as well as keeping games that might go out of stock so that it increases the total overall value. This one's one of my recent additions, and I really enjoy trading. So when a friend was moving across the country and getting rid of this at a cheaper price, I got cautiously optimistic that, hey, maybe I can get some good value for it in the US since it's out of print now. And finally, my pick for art piece. A lot of people collect board games as a way of expressing themselves. This one is the highest pledge level of Iki. The box itself is Paulownia wood, which is really expensive wood. It comes with a Makimono board. It comes with Kokeshi dolls that are hand painted. It's one of those games where I'm just gonna pull it out and just show people hey, this is how premium board games can be. Now I'm gonna put this away and we're gonna play the other copy that I have of this game. So how about you, Board Game Breakfasters? What board game in your collection represents sentimentality, investment, and art? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Eric with the Board Game Dojo. Sayonara.
Well, today's file is that I'm going to bring you is not really a game changer. This is kind of a fun project that you can find in the BGG file section under Carcassonne. It is a Carcassonne meeple shaped cookie cutter, because we all know the famous meeple shape was made famous by Carcassonne. Before that, we just had cubes or pawns, which were your standard pandemic shaped or Ludo shaped pawns, and Carcassonne came with a new kind of design for player characters which was shaped like a man, and that was called meeple. Now, if that interests you and baking is also your interest, then there is a template available on the BGG file section called the Carcassonne cookie cutter, which is going to give you the method to actually convert way to bend or to bend a simple circular cookie cutter into a meeple shaped cookie cutter. Now, if I had to do it, it would be just not as professional, but here it tells you what size of the cookie cutter you have to get, or if you have a different cookie cutter size, then how to print the template at different sizes, and then it gives you directions that which portions you're going to bend in, bend out, and you will be ending up with a proper professional looking meeple shaped cookie cutter for your upcoming baking projects for meeple shaped cookies. So if that interests you, get the cookie cutter, meeple cookie cutter file from the BGG file section under Carcassonne. That's it for me. Happy gaming.
All right, so thanks to a very generous listener, we had a chance to, me and my family went to the Great Escape Room, which has escape rooms all over the country.
Okay.
But they also have one in Miami, Coral Gables. So we went to an escape room. Me, my wife, Holly, Ruby, and Violet. So 5 of us in an escape room that they say goes to 10 people, but those 10 people would all be hugging if that was the case.
Is it really tiny?
I didn't think it was that tiny, but it's the size. It was about the size of this room, but a little bit longer.
Okay.
I mean, we were
with stuff in it.
We were moving around, and I felt 5 was a really good number. Maybe 6 would have worked, but I wouldn't have wanted more than that.
What was the theme?
Okay, so the theme was presidential bunker. So I'm not going to spoil this for you all. I'll mention some things about it, but I'm not going to spoil it in case for some reason you go to it. This Great Escape Room really loves Sherlock Holmes. I was like, oh, there's a Sherlock Holmes thing. Presidential bunker sounds cooler. And then we go into presidential bunker. In the opening video, the guy's like, "Hi, I'm Moriarty's great-great-grandson, and I'm going to destroy America." I'm like, all right, fine. somehow they managed to shove Sherlock Holmes into the presidential bunker. But anyhow, and it was to call it bad acting would be an overstatement. My kids were like, "Why is this so bad?" I'm like, "Shut up, you know." But
your kids clearly have never played what's that old VHS game, Night Atmosphere?
Well, neither have I.
Is it like that level?
yes, it really is, because the guy's like, "Ah!" I'm like, "What?" And then he was threatening to blow up America with nukes, but we would be safe because we're in the bunker. So I'm not sure. He was not in the bunker. So
Was he in America?
You're trying to escape from the bunker.
and in fact, spoiler.
We gotta get out.
In fact, spoiler, we lost, and he was like, "Ha ha ha," and it blew him up, and I was like, "Well, we're fine." I didn't feel too bad about that. But okay, so as escape room, it was an hour escape room. The guy said it was the hardest one there, because at one point I said, "Are we allowed to ask for clues?" He's like, "No, you picked the hardest one." Then immediately gave me a clue.
He felt bad for you.
I guess. It was difficult. We finished every puzzle except one. I feel like that puzzle, which I'll tell you off camera, I felt that he said, "You're overthinking it," and I was, because all the puzzles were about presidents. And so the presidents were all over the room, and each president was numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, the presidents, and ooh, I wonder if that means anything. Probably, right?
Did you have to do the Martin Van Buren boys sign from Seinfeld?
No. Martin Van Buren was not featured much in his room. It was a lot about our more popular presidents.
The Van Buren boys will get their revenge.
So most of it, though, was finding stuff. Because to do each puzzle, like say one puzzle, you needed a bunch of puzzle pieces to figure it out. Those puzzle pieces were scattered all throughout the room. There were two problems I had with it. Well, three problems. One was the weird, at the end, when we didn't solve it, I said, "How do you do the last puzzle?" The guy told me. And then we did this, and then we got these other things. Like, so what do you do with these? And the guy's like, "Can't spoil everything. You'll have to find out another time." I'm never doing it again. Like, I'm not going to be like, "Let's go in next time." Okay, now what?
Some people will. They get people.
We
and they're
got
like, "I'll
almost
pay
the
my
whole
other
way
$50
through.
bucks."
I'm not. Yeah, that's garbage. Show me everything. Secondly, everything was kind of busted a bit. There was like broken stuff a little bit, and I understand why, because I was like, we need to be really careful, and we dropped like 10 things. Because you just drop. There's like the bookshelves full of stuff, and you're pulling things off. Like,
You broke the escape room.
No, we did not. But my biggest problem with the room, by a mile, is it was full of red herrings. And I don't think escape rooms should have any red herrings.
Really?
They're already difficult. Like if you get it's like any of these exit rooms, unlocked rooms, there's almost never red herrings in them. There wasn't time stories, but and even that gets annoying after a while, because there was piles of stuff that meant nothing in this room, but it was made to look like it did matter.
Interesting.
And I've not come across that in an escape room before. And in fact, I've read like how to make a good escape room, and they always say
Don't
no
do
red
that.
herrings.
That's fair.
Because
not
it's
fun.
frustrating,
It's
because
not
you
fun.
sit there and go, "This means something," and it doesn't. But it's clearly made to look that way. In fact, it was really funny in this one. There was like a 100-piece puzzle, and I was like, "Oh my word, better start work on that." And the guy's like, "You don't have to do it. It's just there for
What?
decoration." I was like, "Well then, why is it in the room?" Like, you know, it's just a weird thing to have, right? To
have it empty if you wanna-
I thought we have to put this puzzle together, and then it will tell us something.
And then
No.
on the backside will be a black light, UV answered your something. Nope.
So I've only done one real live escape room, and it was Little Red Riding Hood, the Axe Murderer. And so like you had like dead Granny, and you had the dead Big Bad Wolf, and you had to like stick your hand in its eye socket to pull out a key. It was like creepy, but I liked it.
And I'll tell you what, there was
lot.
none of that here. It did not help that the room next to the escape room was being used for some children's party. I mean, I was like, I kept saying, "Kids, we need to hurry so we can free these screaming children from the bunker," or whatever. But I was trying to make it thematic. My family liked it a lot, but honestly, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. I see someone like red herrings make it better. For most people, they do not.
Yeah, I
They
think
are
they can,
more
yeah.
frustrating than not to go through and do that sort of thing. And that, with the kind of the decrepit state of this, now I'm going to go back and try another one. And again, my family had fun because they had nothing to compare it to. But it's the least best of all the escape rooms I've been to because of those things. Also, the guy running the room seemed particularly disinterested, and I get that it's hard to sit there and be excited while we're going through it.
The person who said that red herrings are fun was like, wait, there's a whole puzzle about nothing? So yeah, even
there was some of that stuff. There was also many things where it said do not touch, but it was not clear what part of it you could not touch. Was it all of it or some of it? And I mean, I'm gonna spoil one thing. There was a book. We opened the book and there was cut out pages. You know, like how you hide a gun in a book?
Yeah.
That meant nothing.
It's empty. They just thought it was cool.
And there
so
was
they
two
put
of
it in
those.
the room.
And I was like, do I read the words? You know, do I?
Oh.
They put something in there.
Like, why were they there? It meant nothing. But that was not the most egregious thing.
They
but
just stole props from their previous escape room, threw them in here just to add more stuff.
maybe it was still neat, but anyhow. So that is my review of that. And again, I'll go back and try another one. Maybe that was just one of the rooms. You know, we'll try.
It was the
I guess I'll
hardest
try
of
the
everything.
Sherlock Holmes room. You know. Since I'm going to do that no
Bring
matter
your
what.
magnifying
It'll be
glass.
like future space. I'll get in there and be like, I'm Moriarty again. Like, oh my word. I can't escape this guy. All right. Anyhow, that's the Great Escape Room.
Hi, I'm Jordan, here to talk about a great game to play on a weeknight. This one's a little long for a weeknight, but I've been playing it on weeknights just because I keep thinking about how I could do better at it because I'm so bad at it, and I frankly don't understand the concepts in this game, and I just want to figure them out, and that is Bear Raid from BoardGameTables.com. This is a straight stock market game. You are buying stock, you are selling stock, you are shorting stock, don't know what that means, and you are trying to get money. You're trying to bankrupt companies to, you know, mess up your opponents. You're trying to get as much stock and sell high, you know, buy low, sell high, all of that stuff. This is just, all of that economic stuff that, frankly, I don't, I have a, I have a business degree and I don't understand the stock market very well. So this is it is just such an interesting game. The whole concept of it is rooted in that buying and then shorting stock. And shorting stock, from what I understand, is kind of getting negative stock. You're receiving money to take on negative stock, but you have to kind of sell it back at the end. Maybe. You're trying to manipulate the prices of these stocks throughout the game with these dice that are rolled at the beginning of each round, then you can pull the dice back. But then also there's these event cards that are going to pop up at the beginning of each round, and depending on what those dice are, you're going to kind of move what those events are up and down, trying to manipulate the stock. If you have shorted a bunch of a certain company, shorted stock in a certain company, you want that price to be real low. But if you have a bunch of stock in that company, you want that price to be real high because you have a lot of value then. And I don't fully understand the concepts and how it all pieces together, but it's so interesting and so intriguing. If you're into stock market games, this is one of the best ones I've played in a long time, and it's really good. Has a weird look, but it's good. It's really good. Check it out. Bear Raid. I'm Jordan. Thanks.
All right, Mike is yelling about Bear Raid. So that is Z's coming back here in 22 minutes, so you'll be able to see him, and then Camilla at noon, and then me at 3 with Eric Summerer and Dan Hughes. So lots of stuff coming your way. Don't forget what Tim said at the beginning about signing up for Dice Tower West. It's going to be amazing. It's a little hard for me to think about because it seems like
It's so far away.
it's so far away, but it's not. So. And Dice Tower West was super fun, and it's going to get even better this coming year. So that's Board Game Breakfast, folks. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
Have fun gaming.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vassell and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.